We're going to be handling these calendars in two ways. One is in the courtroom, in courtroom G33, that's located at 160 Prior Street in Atlanta, Georgia. And some of the other cases may be handled by Zoom. So for certain of these cases, I required individuals to be present in person. So hopefully those folks will have shown up. Now, these calendars involve misdemeanor criminal cases, which have been pending since they've been accused either in the last couple of years. So today we are going to address some cases which are scheduled for a final plea. In other words, the individuals have either reviewed the case and may consider pleading guilty or no contest in exchange for a recommended sentence. The other calendar that I'll be addressing is what we call our show cause calendar. These are also misdemeanor criminal cases in which individuals would have to show up and show cause why certain action should not be taken or should be taken in that particular case. If you are a defendant charged with a misdemeanor criminal offense, whether you're in a courtroom or whether you are present via Zoom, please remember that these are active criminal cases and you have a right to remain silent about the facts or the circumstances of your case. Anything you choose to say, whether in open court or whether on Zoom, your statements can and will be used against you, especially by the prosecutors who are present at these proceedings. You have a right to an attorney. If you are presently not represented by counsel, or if you don't know if you are represented by counsel, we have public defense attorneys who are present on Zoom as well as in the courtroom who would be glad to speak with you and see if you qualify. If you do qualify, you get the right to have their services and they will represent you from this point onwards. Let me first address my final plea calendar. This is for the 9 a.m. calendar. Shaquille Adams.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Good morning, Judge Val.
Good morning, Ms. Shahami. How are you feeling?
I'm great, Your Honor. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Mr. Adams, you need your video on, please, but keep your screen on mute. Thank you. Ms. Shahami, have you sent in the plea paperwork? I'm assuming your client is here for a final plea?
Judge, no, we are actually going to be announcing a need for a motions hearing and ready for trial subject to motions.
Okay.
I have spoken, I would believe it was Miss Riley. She and I emailed a few days ago regarding still some outstanding discovery. The state will be providing me a video, is my understanding, via the evidence link. I have not received that yet, but we will be needing a motions date, Your Honor, and then subject to motions, we'll be announcing ready for trial.
All right. Ms. Shahami and Ms. Riley, are we going for a jury trial?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and schedule this case for a jury trial and issue a case management order. In the meantime, I will also schedule this on the motions calendar for June 15th at 9 a.m.
June 15th.
Yeah, is that a good date for both of you, all of you?
I'm just double checking my leaves, Your Honor, because I know I do have some leaves in June to make sure that it doesn't conflict. June, I am actually on leave on the 15th, Your Honor. I'm on leave that week, the 12th or the 16th. So if you have anything either the week before or the week after, I'm available.
I can put you on the June 1st. It's our final plea calendar, but I can schedule it for emotions.
June, Your Honor, I'm so sorry. I have a leave too. I have a medical procedure that week, so
Okay.
that's why. I apologize.
I can schedule it for May 4th.
May. Promotions, May 4th. That we're available. Defense is available. Mr. Adams, I'm thumbs up. That works for you, May 4th.
And Ms. Riley? We ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Position number 1 is reset to May 4th. This one is specifically set for a motions issue. And you already have the plea offer from the state. Yes, Ms. Shahami?
Yes, Your Honor, I did receive a plea offer. Obviously, everything will be subject also to this video. I may need to particularize motions or add additional motions, and then I'll make sure to file everything well in advance to give the state all the notice they need.
Okay. Well, I'm already issuing a case management order. case is going to be set for a jury trial. I'm only setting it for motions on May 4th. There shall be no further motions calendar for this case. So anything and everything that need to be addressed on May 4th. All discovery that needs to be provided should be done before that date. So, or subject to however the state wants to do it. All right. And we will take it up, all motions to be filed by either side and to be addressed on May 4th at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Mhm.
Perfect, Judge. And that will be, we'll get received notice, I'm assuming, just so I have the courtroom number and everything correct.
That will be correct. It will be in person in courtroom G33.
G33, perfect. Okay.
All right. Okay, that takes care of that case. Mr. Adams and Ms. Shahami, you're both free to go unless you have other cases with me, Ms. Shahami.
I do not, Your Honor. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Good to see you. Have
You
a good
too.
one.
Take care.
Take care.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Darvion Hyde. Darvion, is there Mr. Hyde in the courtroom? No, Mr. Hyde?
Yes, yes. I'm here on Zoom.
Need your video on, Mr. Hyde?
I'm trying to turn it on now. Yeah.
Who's your attorney, Mr. Hyde?
That I'm not sure of. I tried to call and get a public defender. I have yet to get a call back.
Video is still not on? Need your
Yeah,
video on.
I'm trying to turn it on now. Give me 1 second.
Okay,
Right
try to
here,
get your video on. Okay, now you need to be
Yeah.
seated and not moving and remove your cap.
Okay. Yes, I tried to call and get a public defender, but I have yet to receive a call back from anyone, so I'm not sure.
When did you last call?
2 days ago to follow up and still have yet to hear anything.
Miss Helen, Mr. Roffoff, Mr. Korn, did y'all receive a call from a Davion
Darvion.
Darvion Hyde?
Good morning, Judge. I did
Mm.
not receive an application or a phone call from Mr. Hyde, but I can speak to him this morning, see if he qualifies, if that's what Mr. Hyde would like to do this morning.
Okay, and Miss Riley, what's the plea offer for Mr. Hyde? He's accused of hit and run, reckless driving, failure to report striking a fixed object, driving without a valid license from August of 2018.
Yes, Your Honor, for counts 1 through 3, it is 12 months to serve 6 days, credit for time served, 6 days, the balance on probation, a $400 fine, and a risk reduction course. Count 4 would merge with counts 1 through 3, and count 5 will be no process if he has a valid license. If he does not have a valid license, it is a $500 fine.
All right. Mr. Glanville, if you could please place Mr. Hyde and Miss Catrice Helen in a breakout room, please. Mr. Hyde, you'll see a message on your screen to join the breakout room. Please be sure that you are in there. Deshaun Williams. Oh, there he is. All right, Mr. Williams, please stand up. Who's your attorney? Repeat. Have you spoken to a public defender's office? Have you attempted to retain counsel? You're charged with simple battery, willful obstruction of an officer, and simple assault. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, you can speak to one of our public defenders to see if you qualify. What would you like to do? Repeat. Mr. Rockoff, would you happen to have an application for him? All right. And also, this is the part you also need to pay attention to, Ms. Riley. These are the charges brought against Mr. Deshaun Williams. What's the plea offer, if any?
There isn't currently a plea offer in this case, Your Honor, so it would be 12 months to serve.
All right. There is no plea offer by the prosecutor's office. If you decide to plead guilty, they're going to ask you to serve 12 months in jail.
January, when I signed papers saying that I would have time served. And then
Where's the paperwork?
I signed it. I never received anything in the mail back. But I was in the like January 20th.
With whom did you speak?
I was in the courtroom with Judge Mathers.
Judge who? Mather?
Mathers.
Spell it. Is it John Mather?
Mathers.
Mathers, okay, that's just some sound semantics. I don't have any indication that you had entered a plea. Miss Riley, do you have anything to show that this gentleman had agreed to a different plea offer?
No, Your Honor, and this case was transferred to us from Judge Mather's division. This is the first time that it has appeared on a Orca calendar, and it is a media case, so there would not have been a plea to time served in this case.
What type of case?
It is a media case, Your Honor. It was on the news.
Okay, no, I must have fallen asleep that day. Okay. Deshaun Williams, apparently newsworthy item. He was before Judge Mather in courtroom on January 20th, 2022. And Mr. Williams, you need to stand up and pay attention. When you were in the courtroom before Judge Mather, oh, sorry, this was January 10th, 2023. Who was representing you?
No one, I came in, I was there for like, I say 15 minutes. She called me up and they said that.
Who called you up?
One of the ladies who was sitting in the front, I don't remember her name.
All right. You don't have a name, you don't have paperwork, and you don't have any proof that a recommended offer was made to you. I don't have anything on the case file to show that a plea offer was made to you that's different. All right, go ahead and see if you qualify, because if you didn't accept any plea offer at that time, it doesn't show on file. What am I signing over here?
That's the only thing that was in his file, his hard copy file.
Oh, I see. Let's see. I will hire my own attorney. I plead not guilty. I request a jury trial. I waive arraignment. So this is the only document I have, but this was back in 2019. So back in 2019, Mr. Williams, you indicated that you're going to hire your own attorney. I'm looking at the signed document by you. Did you hire one? All right. So see if the PDs can represent you. We can put this back in the file. Thank you. All right, that's my final plea calendar. Mr.
Good morning,
Gardner?
Judge Law.
Good morning, Mr. Lewis. Yeah, who's your client?
Kelsey Royalston, and I only interrupted because I heard you say that's my final plea. So I thought I was late.
It is on the Orca show cause calendar, Your Honor, position 19.
Okay.
So you have not gotten.
Kelsey Shamika Royalston. Where is Kelsey Shamika Royalston? Any idea, Mr. Lewis?
So the answer to that question is no. When we were last court, Judge, I sent out a letter from my firm to the address that the court has. That letter did not come back, returned to sender. And so it either is in her hands or someone's hands or lost in the mail.
Okay.
I did report in that letter that her court date was today, and I also reported everything else she sounded out about bond and things of that nature. But I've heard nothing.
Any motion?
Yes, Your Honor, one moment. I'm looking to see if this was a previous failure to appear.
It is.
And so with that, the state would be asking for a bench warrant. However, I don't show that Ms. Royalston previously failed to appear. It looks like her plea and arraignment with Judge Dixon was reset, and then it was transferred to our division.
Well,
the-
you just heard, Mr. Lewis that she has previously failed to appear. And I don't have a good address on the system for her. I'm not sure why she's not present, so I'm going to put the bench warrant request granted. On the forgery is going to be 500, driving while license suspended is 1,000, driving. Let me see, no insurance is 500. Driving while license suspended is 500, excuse me, 1, 2, 3. And driving with an expired or no registration is 500, total bond is 2,000. That's a surety bond. Mr. Lewis, if your client by some miracle reaches out to you, please let her know she's got an outstanding bench warrant and she needs to take all the necessary steps to file a motion to set it aside.
I will share that with her, Judge. I will also ask, just to inform the court, I took this on as an appointed case and I've been doing it on pro bono. So I am going to also send a 10-day letter to my client as well, and then follow up when necessary.
All right, understood. If you please send your motion to withdraw to the attention of Ms. Valencia Younger.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Essen Smith, excuse me, Essen Smith.
Essen Smith, understood.
All right, and y'all should have an email because she would have sent you all the notices. Or you can send it to Mr. Evan Glanville, so he'll make sure it gets into the right hands.
Understood.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lewis. You're free to go.
Very good. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Mr. Gardner, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. And how may we help you?
I am here for Chaz Majors. We received a notice saying a failure to appear, but I was notified, well, my assistant was notified by, I think, Orca, that says there was no failure to appear. They just put us on this calendar.
This is to show cause, basically. So let's see, Chaz Majors. And is Chaz Majors in the courtroom or?
He's on Zoom, Your Honor.
Where?
Mr. Majors, can you take your phone off mute?
Oh, is that him, Mr. Eichel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, Mr. Glanville, please correct the name to Chaz, that's C-H-A-Z, last name Majors. All right, Mr. Chaz Majors is present, represented by Mr. Gardner. He's been accused of simple battery from June 2020. Mr. Gardner, have you all received a plea offer from the state?
We have, Your Honor. My assistant, since we received notice, my assistant has contacted the solicitor's office and no one knew who was on this case. We haven't received any information. No discovery.
Yeah, no discovery yet, but let's hear what the plea offer is. Ms. Riley?
It's 12 months probation, a $300 fine, or 30 hours of community service, and 6 anger management classes.
All right. And what's the status with discovery, Ms. Riley?
Discovery the request has been sent for discovery to be placed on file and serve. So that should be done this week.
Okay.
Can you repeat the plea recommendation again? I'm sorry.
Certainly, 12 months probation, a $300 fine, or 30 hours of community service, and 6 anger management classes.
Okay.
Would you like a moment to speak to your client?
No, Your Honor. I mean, we're not gonna do a plea now. I have to look at discovery. I could not advise him to take a plea without me looking at evidence against him.
All right. I am going to reset this to May 4th.
I'm in trial, Your Honor. I'm in
Okay.
Judge Glanville's court, so I'm in an active RICO trial.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Yeah, this case was unexpected. This case was originally on Miracle Williams' desk, and we was planning to, I got email, we were planning to do a global deal with an original. I don't know what happened. This one fell off the bandwagon, and 2 years later, we're here for it. So this is a surprise to me as well.
Well, you're going to be on trial on June 1st also. At least I've got 25 cents down. That's how long the trial is going to last. So the June 1st be a optimistic date?
We can try for it. We can shoot for it, and I'll in the meantime, I'll try to connect with Ms. Raleigh to see what we could do, especially once I get discovery. But as of now, without having discovery, I mean, that's all I could provide.
I'm going to set this case down for a jury trial. I'm going to issue a case management order. The case has already been arraigned. It was arraigned back on February 9th, 2022.
My client was in jail, so I'm not sure how. I don't think we filed the waiver, did we?
It just says arraignment on, and then it was reset for further notice. So
Yeah,
it wasn't arraigned?
No, my client was in prison in February of 2022, Your Honor. We've never received notice of an arraignment or anything. We've never appeared in court on this case.
Not for this case, right?
Right, not for this case. No, he
Okay.
was in jail for something else, but
Okay, so
Right.
I'm going to arraign this case right now then. Are you ready?
yes,
Okay, so and do you waive a reading of the accusation, or would you like me to read it?
waive it.
Okay. Mr. Chaz Majors, this is case 20 COB 0000167. You've been accused of simple battery, allegedly on June 1st of 2020 in Fulton County, Georgia. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Lamar Gardner. This is a misdemeanor offense of which you've been accused, and you are legally presumed innocent of this charge. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecution will have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails and carries its burden of proof, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead, Mr. Majors?
Not guilty.
All right. This case has been arraigned. It's going to be scheduled for a jury trial. We will issue a case management order. In the meantime, we're going to reset it for June 1st. And this is going to be for the final plea calendar. Of course, Mr. Gardner, if your client decides that they're not going to accept the plea subject to your review of the discovery, then you can contact the court and ask that the case be removed from the calendar, and it will just move on to the jury trial process.
There you go.
All right. Okay, do you have any other questions, sir?
No other questions and no other matters before the court when maybe we'll be excused.
Yes, good luck, and may your trial be over sooner than I expected.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care. All right. Are there any other private counsel on Zoom?
Quick
Okay.
insertion, Your Honor.
I'm
My
sorry.
bad. Excuse me. Mr. Aaron Daniel Bethea, he's a defendant, I think, for a counter tomorrow for 4-7 for status.
Oh, all right.
Originally, I
Mr.
think you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Mr. Glanville. Mr. Bethea, are you driving right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What's your case number?
My case number is 20 CR. Hold on 1 second. Is
20 CR 005104F.
correct.
All right. And Ms. Smith, do we have that case on schedule for tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Bethea, I appreciate your diligence, but you're scheduled for the calendar tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Right.
All right.
So who's representing you?
This all I have no idea.
Well, have you spoken to the public defender's office?
No, but I will reach out as soon as I leave this meeting.
Why don't you wait until Miss Helen? Are you available?
Yes, Judge, I can try to qualify Mr. Bethea.
All right. You can speak to public defense attorney, Miss Catrice Helen. If you qualify, then at least you'll know you qualify and someone will be appointed to represent you tomorrow.
All right.
So,
Thank
Mr. Glanville, can we place Mr. Bethea into a breakout with Miss Helen, please?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right. Let me see. We have Mr. Al Olami, who is present.
That's my case.
Mr. Cornea, is that scheduled for 1:30?
As far as I knew, it was on 1:30. I saw him on there when I was sitting here. We can make a quick announcement. We're still waiting on, mental health.
Oh, you need to stand up and come to the microphone here, sir, or at that table. Thank you. Because otherwise, Mr. Riley won't be able to hear you. We have Mr. Abdul Rahman El Aloimi on Zoom, but he's scheduled for the 1:30 calendar this afternoon. But his attorney, Mr. Korn, is present. Yes, sir.
Actually, I have Mr. Rosenblum.
Where's Rosenblum? Excuse me. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, we're still waiting on mental health court transfer. We sent over diagnosis to Ms. Riley about 2-3 weeks ago and haven't heard back yet.
Okay, Ms. Riley?
Yes, Your Honor, that was forwarded to the mental health program. They said that that was what they needed in order to finish qualifying Mr. Olalami. I have not heard anything back after sending the diagnosis.
So your client's willing to wait until he gets a decision?
Absolutely.
All right, I guess we'll put him again on another calendar. Next reset status calendar on Orca A. It's going to be May 4th at 1:30 p.m.
And Your Honor, is that a in-person calendar or virtual?
He's appearing by Zoom, so you can appear by Zoom also.
Understood.
All right. All right, can we put a note to file on this case? Multiple resets for MH recommendation still pending. Thank you. All right, Mr. Rosenblum, anything else you had for this morning or 1:30?
I have one for this morning.
Oh, okay, which one is that?
It's Cordelia Hurston, 19 CR 008 657C. Should be
That's
on your,
Kirsten with a K?
with an H.
With an H.
Position 7, show cause.
Thank you, sir. All right, and is your client in the courtroom?
She is.
All right, great, thank you. Ms. Hurston is present, position number 7, represented by Mr. Rosenblum. This is a show cause matter. And let me go ahead.
Your Honor, I'm not sure why it's appearing on the show cause calendar. She has not failed to appear. And Mr. Rosenblum did file his entry of appearance on April 4th and filed a waiver of arraignment and pled not guilty for Ms. Hurston.
All right, we getting ready for trial?
Other than discovery, sure.
All right,
Discovery was filed October 13th of 2022.
We were just retained 3 days ago, so.
but that's why you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
Because you need to go back in the file. It was, I'm looking at it. It was, I mean, if there's something more that you need, then, but it's otherwise all been set. It's already been filed. So that's
All right.
all e-filed and served.
I understand. We were retained 3 days ago, so I will find out who it was sent to and get it from them.
This case has
My
been
client
pending.
has,
This case has been pending since November 2019. Let me see, we've had a bench warrant issued on January 27th of 2020, which was set aside. We've had another bench warrant that was issued in October of 2022, which was set aside. Discovery was e-filed on October 13th, 2022. Yeah, so I'm going to schedule this for trial. Do both sides want a bench trial or a jury trial?
at this time, Your Honor, I'll ask for a jury trial.
Okay,
And once I review everything, if it's necessary, we'll advise the court.
I beg your pardon?
Once I've reviewed the discovery and see if a trial is actually necessary, we'll advise the court one way or another.
Okay. In your multiple filings on April 4th, did you all file a waiver of arraignment or?
We did.
Okay. So arraignment has been waived. We're going to schedule this for a jury trial. A case management order will issue. Are you interested? Well, you haven't seen discovery, so I'm not sure if a plea offer is going to help out. Is there a plea offer, Ms. Riley?
There is. Count one would merge with count two. Count two is the DUI less safe. It would be 12 months to serve 24 hours, credit for time served, 24 hours, the balance on probation, a $400 fine, 40 hours of community service, risk reduction, an alcohol and drug evaluation, any treatment that is recommended, one victim impact panel. Counts 3 and 4 would also merge with count 2.
All right, so the only thing would be left with the DOI less safe.
Understood. Ms. Riley, do you know offhand if there are videos on this case? I know it was a GSP case from 2019.
There may be a hard copy disc.
Okay.
In the actual file, so that would have to be retrieved from archives.
Okay. I'll email you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Rosenblum, we good?
That's good.
All right.
So is there, we're getting a case management order?
Yeah.
So no date as of yet, just a demand.
Jury trial, you know,
That's
up in the air.
up in the air. Understood.
All
Thank you,
right,
Your Honor.
sir. You have a great week. Thank you. Ms. Hurston, thank you very much. Please keep in touch and make sure your address is current with us at all times. Thank you. Are there any other private attorneys in the courtroom? No? Any more left on the Zoom? Okay. Mr. Ruffo, you've reviewed Mr. Williams.
Yes, Mr. Williams, number 3 on the Orca final plea does qualify. And Miss Lambert, who's number 11 on the show calls, she also qualifies.
What's the position number?
Number 11 on the show calls calendar, Lambert.
Caitlin Lambert?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's address Mr. Deshaun Williams first. Mr. Williams, if you want to come forward, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Michael Ruffoff with the Public Defender's Office. He's accused of simple battery, willful obstruction of an officer, and simple assault. How are we proceeding, Mr. Ruffoff?
Well, that's the one where they read the recommendation, which was 12 months to serve. So I need to look at the discovery. So we probably would ask for a reset to another final plea calendar. I haven't talked to him either, other than to qualify him.
He's right here by the podium.
Oh, okay, okay. So we'd ask again, we put on the another final plea calendar.
Miss Riley, do you have any bona fide plea offers? If the case can move forward to another final plea calendar?
Not at this time, Your Honor, and the state wouldn't have an objection to it being placed on another final plea calendar, as this is this first time this case has been on an Orca calendar. I'm not sure why it was placed on a final plea. So we would not have an objection to that.
All right, I'm going to reset this for I hate to do this. This has been around, okay. I'm gonna put it on a final plea calendar. And that's gonna, this is Orca final plea, that's gonna be May 4th at 9 a.m. And Mr. Williams, you'll have to come back in person, and your attorney, Mr. Ruffoff, is going to speak to the prosecutor to see what offer they can obtain for you. Because right now they're asking you to serve 12 months in jail, which means you'll be in prison for up to 6 months. All right. Okay. Anything else? Mr. William, also Mr. Ruffoff, do you waive arraignment, or shall I arraign the case now?
No, we can waive it.
Okay. You will need to make sure that you file a written waiver and send that to Ms. Smith. Okay, Ms. Smith, let's make a note that counsel is waiving arraignment, and we'll see you on the final plea calendar. Thank you.
He's not to leave till he talks to me. Okay. Right.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you need to stick around. Thank you. Darvion Hyde. Have you spoken to the public defense, Mr. Helen?
Yes, I have.
All right, Miss Helen, does he qualify? Or is she in the breakout?
I believe she is.
All right, we can't address you yet until she comes back. All right, please mute your screen. Is there anyone else on Zoom whom I have to address? Other than Mr. Hyde? No? Okay. All right. Got Mr. Williams and Miss Lambert, right? You're going to be represented by Mr. Ruffo. All right, Miss Lambert is position 11 on the calendar. And you can come forward and have a seat next to Mr. Ruffo, please. Thank you. All right, Ms. Lambert's position 11, 19 CR 001536C. She was accused of theft by shoplifting from December of 2017. Ms. Lambert has applied for the office of the Public Defender's Office, and Mr. Ruffo, she qualifies, yes?
Okay.
Okay, so she's represented by Mr. Ruffo. What's the plea offer, Ms. Riley?
We would be offering diversion in this case, Your Honor.
That's something.
Oh, I can hear you, Mr. Ruffo. Sorry, your mic is on. Unless you want to just step aside. Okay, while we're waiting on Ms. Lambert, so what, stand up and tell me your name. Antonio Jackson. That's position number 8. Mr. Antonio Jackson, is that correct? All right. Your case was rescheduled for today. Who's your attorney? Are you choosing to represent yourself? Come around. All right, you were, yes,
Yeah, ma'am.
go ahead.
My
Been advised of your right to remain silent, and I don't see you represented by counsel. So what would you like to tell me?
I'm not too sure, Your Honor. Hey, I've been staying out of trouble, doing the best I can, just to be a like better man every day. Thinking about the same situation, trying to get, like move forward. This situation been hindering me for the past 2 to 3 years and a half at this point now. I could barely even be a father to my kid or to my kids because, hey, I'm on probation up here. If I was to leave outside of this city or state and go back home and provide for my kids down there, I wouldn't be able to do it just because if anything else was to come up, I'm not only be in trouble down there, but up here. So
Where's up here and down here? I'm not sure.
I'm from Alabama.
Okay, and which city?
Well, I had recently moved up here from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, I previously got in trouble 2 years ago.
Oh, don't tell me about that. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend you talking about that. Okay.
No, it wasn't even in trouble like that.
All I want to know, sir, is would you like to speak to the Public Defender's Office to see if you qualify and see whether they'll represent you? And or you can choose to represent yourself. If you choose to represent yourself, any legal decision you make will be your responsibility.
Yeah.
I cannot give you any advice, but I can just go through the procedure. I can find out from the prosecution what is their plea offer. A plea offer is the prosecutor's recommended sentence for you. You decide to plead guilty or no contest to the charge that's been brought against you, simple battery, domestic violence.
Yes, ma'am.
June of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So question number 1, would you like to speak to the Public Defender's Office or would you like to continue representing yourself?
I represent myself.
Do you understand that in representing yourself, that you're responsible for all legal decisions?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
it may impact the facts of the case,
Yes, ma'am.
any open cases you may have,
Yes, ma'am.
your personal situation, including your job and so forth.
Yes, ma'am.
Question number 2, would you like to hear the plea offer?
I like to hear it.
Okay, so done. Ms. Riley?
It's 12 months to serve 2 days, credit for time served 2 days, balance on probation, complete a family violence intervention program, and have no contact with the victim, Nora Lawson.
So basically, the plea offer is no jail time.
Yes, ma'am.
You will be placed on probation,
Yes, ma'am.
and you would have to do a 24-week counseling program they call domestic violence intervention.
Yes, ma'am.
And you cannot have any contact with Nora Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that something that you would like to consider?
So you're saying you didn't shot?
Yeah, I'd consider it as long as it helped me get up off the paper soon as possible.
2017. Repeat.
I would consider it. I'll consider it.
All right.
Take that plea.
You want to take that plea?
Yeah, as long as I can go and get up off this.
Okay.
Got too much stuff to do.
All right. If you'd like to have a seat, Ms. Riley will prepare the plea paperwork
Yes, ma'am.
and she will send it to us. As soon as we print it, you get a chance to review it.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
need to sign and check mark all the appropriate questions.
Okay.
And then we will take your plea hearing today.
Yes, ma'am.
That will close your case. You'll be placed on probation. Once you are done with the classes,
Yes.
I will put you on non-reporting probation, which means you don't have to report after that.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Your Honor, am I sending plea paperwork to Ms. Redden and Ms. Smith, or am I sending it to the group, the shared email address? And Mr.
Essen Smith, please.
Okay.
Ms. Smith, is that all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, I do have an announcement. I'm ready on position 2 from the final plea calendar.
Position number 2, just 1 second. All right, Jessica Castleberry. Oh, final plea calendar, sorry. Sorry. Yes, on Darvion Hyde, yes.
Yes, Judge, I have his application. Unfortunately, Mr. Hyde does not qualify for our services. He would like to speak to the prosecutor who's on this case, and I didn't get that information of which ASG that was.
That would be Miss Denise Riley. And did you go over the plea offer with Mr. Hyde?
I did not, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Hyde, the prosecutor's name is Denise Riley. And basically, did you write down the plea offer when she was mentioning it?
Well, I understand what she was saying. 6 days, time served, things like that. But I did want to ask her a question, if I could.
Okay. We will have you speak to Miss Riley very shortly. Miss Riley, could you place position Mr. Hyde on your list of individuals to speak to in a breakout?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And I apologize, Judge. I did have another announcement.
Yeah.
But it's for tomorrow's calendar. I do think he'll still appear, but it's on the 7th, and it was for Mr. Bethea, who did show up today, Judge. I do have his application, and Mr. Bethea does not qualify, but he would like to speak with the ASG on that case as well. I didn't get that information because we didn't go over that calendar, Judge, so I don't.
Okay. All right, Miss Riley. Good morning, Miss Bethea. Are you going to be the prosecutor for Mr. Bethea tomorrow?
Yes, so I can speak with him now.
Okay. Mr. Glanville, if you could place Ms. Githea in a breakout with Mr. Aaron Bethea. Thank you. Mr. Bethea, you'll see a message on your screen to join the breakout.
Okay.
I got to keep a running list of all the cases that are disappearing to talk to others. Okay. Let me see. Mr. Ruffo, what does your client want to do in terms of pretrial diversion?
Yes, she wants to take this.
You need to, go ahead.
She can sign it. And she's available to sign it today.
Okay. Ms. Riley, how would you send us the paperwork for Miss Lambert to, that's position 11, to enter the diversion program.
Yes, Your Honor, I would send it to Ms. Smith. When I send the other plea paperwork, she can fill that out and you would just scan that back to me so I can send it to the appropriate people for diversion.
All right, and do y'all have a reset date for compliance or a reset request for compliance, or just y'all have your own internal compliance schedule so that if that's a problem, y'all will request it to be on hearing?
Your Honor, at this time, because they are still working out the electronic payment portion, we would ask for it to be placed on a Orca compliance calendar for either May or June.
Ms. Smith? I don't think we're dispensing with all these fancy titles for Orca calendars. I'm gonna put it on the June.
So I guess a status calendar would be the most appropriate for this, Your Honor.
Right now I've got June 1st. Status calendar at 1:30. Okay. All right. Ms. Lambert, the prosecutor is going to send us a paperwork for you to sign up with the pretrial diversion program.
Okay.
That is a program where you need to do certain conditions. I'm not sure what is going to be required. And then once you complete the conditions, your case will be dismissed.
Okay.
Put it on your calendar right now that we're going to reset the case to June 1st at 1:30 p.m. in this very courtroom. And if everything is completed, the case will be dismissed.
Okay, fabulous. You said June 1st.
At 1:30 p.m. And you might be seated next to Mr. Rokoff again. Who knows? Understood?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think that, all right, so I'm trying to keep track of everyone who I'm not addressed. So there's a young lady in a white shirt. Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Warren? Moore. Oh, Moore. Okay, please come across. M-O-O-R-E? Did I hear you correctly? M-O-O-R-E?
M-O-O-R-E.
No, I'm not showing a more on.
Are you a
the calendar.
defendant? Are you a defendant?
Yes.
And do you have your case number?
I don't, I'm sorry.
I don't have you on my calendar.
I was recently released, so I'm not sure. I was told to mention that I was recently released.
What day is today? Thursday? Okay, she might be released from an SAP calendar and
Yes, Your Honor.
6/26/93.
a seat, and we'll get you a status, okay? Have a seat right there. I think I'm done with everybody in this section. Yes, ma'am, in the black shirt.
Chantel Sonia.
Sonia. How do you spell your last name?
S-O-N-N-I-E-R.
Also not on either one of our calendars, Your Honor.
In the same situation, I was released and I out her today.
That's fine. Have a seat in the first row. And we'll get your case number and find out what's the status of your case. And the gentleman in the black sweatshirt?
My name is Norwood.
Norwood. I think I've come across that name right here, position 16. All right, and Mr. Norwood, who's your attorney? Have you spoken to the public defender's office? Would you like an opportunity to speak to the public defender's office? All right, if you'd like to come forward, this gentleman right here is going to give you an application. And Ms. Riley, while he's filling out the application, do you have a plea offer for Mr. Norwood?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 12 months to serve 10 days. Credit for time served, 10 days. The balance is suspended, so the case will close today.
Did you understand what that meant?
Yes, so should I still fill this up?
It's entirely up to you.
I don't think so.
It's, all right, please stand up and come around to the podium. All right, this is State versus Jarman DeAndre Norwood, accused of criminal trespass from February of 2020, case number 20 CR 0012228E. Mr. Norwood, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. In waiving your right to counsel, you do understand that any legal decision you make today, you'll be responsible based upon your own understanding of the law, your research and knowledge,
Okay,
how it may impact any other open cases you may have, your personal situation, your job, your residency, and so forth. Are you still prepared to move forward and represent yourself?
yes,
All right, the state is basically offering you a time served recommendation if you decide to plead guilty today.
oh, okay, I plead guilty.
All right, well, let's not jump the gun right now. Let me just go through all the legal steps so that when you go out, you'll give me a good Yelp review. All right.
Okay,
But meanwhile, basically, that's what they're saying. They're saying that if you decide to plead guilty, you'll be given credit for the 10 days you served in the jail, and the remainder of the time will be suspended. So it's basically time served.
okay,
Is that what you'd like to do?
sounds good, yes.
All right. Ms. Riley, if you could prepare the plea paperwork for Mr. Norwood.
Yes, Your Honor.
There'll be a few moments. As soon as I get the documents, I can have them printed and given to you for you to review, sign, and check mark all the appropriate boxes. And then we will have a plea hearing in which you can make that decision again, and that completes the case.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
please have a seat. Thank you. I've addressed everyone in the courtroom. Ms. Redden, do we have a status of Ms. Saunier and Ms. Moore?
I'm looking them up now.
Okay. All right, has anybody else appeared on Zoom whom I need to address? All right, I have I'm just gonna go over Mr. Darvion Hyde. Okay. Have you, you're gonna be speaking to Ms. Riley, correct?
Yes.
All right, so Ms. Riley, I'm gonna place you in a breakout with Mr. Darvion Hyde, please. And you're gonna keep a running tally, right, of who you need to speak to next?
He's
Ms.
the
Riley?
only person that I need to speak to. I need to do the paperwork for the other
Okay.
people that are present.
All right. Can you speak with him first so we can find out how he wants to move forward?
Sure, Your Honor.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're
Mr. Glanville, one more breakout room, please. Thank you. For Mr. Darvion Hyde and Ms. Denise Riley. Ms. Githier is still in a breakout. So we're still waiting on the plea paperwork for others. So we'll be in a recess until we're ready to either address a plea or a case announcement. Thank you. pages. Yes, Ms. Riley, any decision from your breakout?
Your Honor, Mr. Hyde, don't know if he did it by accident, but left the breakout room before we finished our discussion. I believe he wants to resolve the case. But we were
Well,
still working out a few matters.
Okay,
I'm still here. It got disconnected somehow. I wasn't even touching the phone. So
I can't see you. I cannot see you.
I'm still here. Somehow it got disconnected. I wasn't even touching my phone. And I asked, Officer Glenville to put us back in the break room together.
Okay, I can let you continue your discussion. Mr. Glanville, could we place Mr. Hyde and Ms. Riley, you can go back to the same breakout room, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Githea, you spoke to Mr. Bethea. What is the announcement?
Yes, Your Honor. I did give Mr. Bethea the offer on both of his cases. And we're gonna just do a little bit more research. So if we can just keep it on the calendar for tomorrow. But I
Okay.
want to place the offer on the record.
Oh, hang on. No, it's not going to do me any good.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't have the case in front of me.
Right, that's
So,
fine. Yes,
all
but-
right, Mr. Aaron Bethea, if you could please unmute. All right. So, Mr. Bethea, you've got two pending cases. You've spoken to the prosecutor and you know what the plea offer is. So
Yes.
we'll see you tomorrow and you can decide if you want to move forward with the plea offer or demand a trial. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Tomorrow at Zoom.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Githea, just as if it's not too inconvenient, if you could prepare the plea paperwork just in case.
Yes, Your Honor.
So at touch of a button, you can have it ready.
All right.
All right, thank you. We'll be in recess until we have an announcement as soon as we get the plea paperwork on the other cases. Thank you.
Thank you for the time, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Riley?
Yes, Mr. Hyde will also be a plea, so I just need a moment to work on everyone's paperwork. I have his email address to send it to him and Ms. Smith. He has a printer where he can print it out, sign, and send it back to us.
Excellent, thank you. So on Mr. Hyde, we'll be also doing a plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, yeah, we'll be in recess until you send us all the paperwork. And when you send, Mr. Hyde the paperwork, could you just CC Ms. Smith?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Hyde, can you put your email address in the chat?
Yes.
And you will send that to, there's a name on the list called Essen Smith.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. All necessary paperwork has been emailed, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Riley. We'll give it to the folks, and as soon as they're ready, we'll have a hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That we signed the.
The version? Okay.
She was given a fine date.
Right.
I think she can do it.
Yeah. Ms. Lambert, you've got your next court date? All right, Ms. Riley, she's filled out the version paperwork. One of us will email it back to you as well, and she's got her next court date for compliance. Any questions, Ms. Lambert? All right, thank you for being here. You're free to go. You too. Essence, we need to send a copy to Ms. Riley and to Mr. Rockoff too. Thank you, and we'll file that with the court. All right, Mr. Norwood, if you'd like to come forward to the podium, please. All right, this is State versus Jarman Norwood, accused of criminal trespass, domestic violence in case number 20 CR 004-990C. Mr. Norwood is present in the courtroom. Prosecutor Ms. Denise Riley is present via Zoom. This is going to be a negotiated plea hearing with regards to the charge of criminal trespass. Mr. Norwood has been advised of his right to remain silent. He's been advised of his right to counsel, and he has chosen to waive counsel and proceed self-represented. Mr. Norwood, you've reviewed the document regarding a waiver of right to counsel, and you understand the consequences of representing yourself.
Yes,
All right, and you have chosen to voluntarily waive your right to counsel.
yes,
Okay. For purposes of this plea hearing, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
yes.
Thank you. Ms. Riley, what's the recommended sentence?
It is 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 10 days. The balance is suspended.
Thank you. Mr. Norwood, you've heard the recommended sentence if you decide to plead guilty to this charge. Do you agree that for this particular case, that the prosecution has identified the correct venue, that is Fulton County, where the incident occurred, the identity of the defendant, that is you, and that the factual basis for this particular charge, criminal trespass, that all three elements are true and correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No.
Have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
And you've read through the documents, you understand that if you plead guilty today, that will close the case out, and you will not have an opportunity to go back to court, have a trial in front of a judge or a jury to challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass, family violence?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 10 days, balance suspended. That closes the case out. Let's put this behind you. And in all sincerity, normally a lot of people say that to me, but I hope never to see you in a courtroom again.
I hope so.
All right, take care.
And thank you as well.
Mr. Antonio Jackson, sir, if you'd like to take the podium, please. Zero, zero, four. We are addressing State versus Antonio J. Jackson, case number 20 CR 004-990C. Mr. Jackson was accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and Mr. Jackson has been advised of his right to remain silent and his right to counsel. He has completed the application for waiver of right of counsel and has been so advised of the consequences of representing himself. Mr. Jackson, you have read the document regarding waiver of right to counsel,
Yes, ma'am.
and you understand the consequences of representing yourself,
Yes, ma'am.
and you still choose to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Jackson, may I place you under oath for purposes of this plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
I do.
All right. Ms. Riley, what's the plea recommendation for Mr. Jackson?
It's 12 months to serve 2 days, credit for time served 2 days, the balance on probation, family violence intervention program, and to have no contact with the victim, Norma, Lawson.
Mr. Jackson, in order to proceed with this plea hearing, you would have to agree that the factual basis supporting this charge of simple battery, that the identity of the perpetrator, that is you, and that the location of the incident, Fulton County, are all true and correct. Do you so agree?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Is anyone forcing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
And are you doing so freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
You've read through the documents. Do you understand the rights that you are waiving?
Yes, ma'am.
Specifically, the right to a trial, the right to confront your accuser,
Yeah.
examine witnesses,
Yes,
challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the case against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
I understand.
Are you freely waiving these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that entering such a plea could have an impact on any other open cases that you may have?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Do you also understand that you'll be on probation to complete a 24-week program at your expense? And that program must begin within 60 days from today.
Okay.
And that at all times while you're on probation, whether it's active or non-reporting, you're to stay away from Norma Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
You must stay away at least 200 yards. You cannot have any contact with her in any way, form, or manner.
Okay.
Yes.
So I apologize for, could you guys let her know that as well?
Repeat?
Could you let her know that as well?
I can't. I mean, victim advocate's office at the Fulton County Solicitor's office will let her know that this is the plea offer and this is how the case is resolved, and that he's supposed to stay 200 yards away from her.
Yes, ma'am.
But she has no obligation to stay away from you.
Yes, ma'am.
But if she comes and tries to initiate contact with you, you are required to either move away, hang up the phone, close the door, don't open it, stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you feel that she's harassing you, you can definitely call the cops.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
So do you still want to proceed with the plea?
Yes.
Okay. And my next question was, and I'm not certain of the answer to this, is do you share any children with Ms. Lawson?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. I will allow for third-party transfer with the children. That is, if you want to have visitation or custody of the children,
Yes,
you've
ma'am.
got to appoint a third person with whom she agrees so that you can see the children, but you yourself cannot have any direct contact with the child or children.
Yes, ma'am.
That's something that is acceptable to you?
Yes, it is.
And how many children are involved?
Just one.
Third-party transfer of one child.
Yes, ma'am.
In the alternative, you could always file a legitimation action. Were you married with Ms. Lawson when you had the child? Okay, you can file a legitimation and have a court order to set a schedule for visitation and custody.
Okay.
All right. But in the meantime, do you waive the rights I've just listed?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery domestic violence?
I plead guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 2 days, credit for time served 2 days. Your jail time is concluded. For the remainder of the time, you'll be on probation.
Yes, ma'am.
They're going to give you a list, a form, excuse me, to fill out for probation. And we can give you the copy too.
Yeah.
At the top of the form is the address of the probation office.
Okay.
Today is Thursday.
Yes.
1 week from today, next Thursday,
Yes.
you must report to probation, and that's at 132 Mitchell Street.
132.
You now live in Atlanta, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You must report to the probation office at 132 Mitchell Street before 3 p.m.
Okay.
They will put you on probation and schedule you for monthly visits.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Like I said, you must begin your FBIT program within 60 days from today.
Okay.
Then as soon as you begin, you start the classes and you complete the classes. Once you're done with the classes and if you have no other violations like contacting Ms. Lawson or getting arrested again, if you have no other violations, then your probation will be non-reporting.
Okay,
So, and like I said, I'm going to allow for third-party transfer of the one child,
yes, ma'am.
right?
I understand.
So pick someone that she finds acceptable to, just so that you can minimize any conflict.
It's however she do it. I
Hey.
just do me.
That's your choice, dude, not mine. Listen, you still need to fill out this one over here, the front page. He just needs to sign right there. That's his pen. All right, I think that concludes the police. Ms. Riley, would that be correct? Is there anybody else I need to address?
Yes, Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde. Oh, that's right. Has he sent in the paperwork yet?
Yeah, that's midnight here.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Jackson, you need to stay and fill out the probation form. And then when we give you the copy of it, then you're free to go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, here are the two speed documents. Mr. Hyde, what's the status of your completing the plea documents?
Oh, I finished them. Sent them back over to Miss Riley.
Okay.
I apologize. I thought Ms. Smith was also on that. I will forward that to her.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Hyde, as soon as I receive the documents, we'll begin with the plea hearing, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Riley, could you send us Mr. Hyde's email? We need to send him the waiver of counsel form as well.
Certainly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hyde, there's one more document you have to review, and that's the waiver of counsel.
I'll see it, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Riley, while we're waiting for Mr. Hyde to complete the waiver of counsel, I just want to go over this is a plea in 19 CR 0100885G to 2 counts of hit and run and reckless driving.
No, Your Honor, we've changed it. It is to 1 count of hit and run.
Okay, and then you're going to merge the failure to.
Yes, we're merging all other counts except for count 5, which is the driving without a valid license. That will be null pros, as he now has a valid license.
Okay, so once the plea is done, please make sure you send in the null pros.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the other 3 counts will merge into the 1 count of hit and run. Okay?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I did send it.
All right, Mr. Hyde, did you get the waiver of counsel document?
I'm still waiting to receive it. I haven't received it just yet. It hasn't popped up in my email just yet. Did she put Gmail or Yahoo? Because I had made a slight mistake, but I corrected it.
I received it, because I'm on it with them, and it is at Yahoo that it was sent to.
Yeah, I had corrected it. It should be at Gmail.
Not a problem.
Sorry about that. My apologies.
No problem. Repeat that again, Essence.
So that is darbion.hyde@gmail.com.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is.
The second coming before the third.
All right, Mr. Hyde, do you have it now?
Yes, I have it. I'm actually filling it out as we speak.
Okay, good. Do you have a copy of the document you sent him, Essence? Ms. Smith?
I haven't received it yet.
No, just a copy that you got.
Oh,
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hyde, start your video. All right. Have you reviewed the waiver of right of counsel document?
Yes, I have.
And have you signed it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so go ahead and send it in after we've completed the plea hearing, okay?
Okay.
Send it back to Miss Essence Smith, the individual who sent it to you.
Okay.
All right. This is State of Georgia versus Darbion Remeko Hyde, HYDE, accusation number 19 CR 010085G. Mr. Hyde was accused of 2 counts of hit and run, reckless driving, failure to report striking a fixed object, and driving without a valid license on August 31st, 2018 in Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Hyde is been advised of his right to counsel, and he has been advised of his advised of the consequences of waiving his right to counsel and appearing self-represented. Mr. Hyde, you've got the document of waiver of right to counsel in front of you,
Yes, I do.
and you've read through the document, especially with regards to the consequences of representing yourself,
Yes, I have.
and you still want to proceed pro se, correct? Representing yourself.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, you've signed the document. Please go ahead and email it back as instructed. Meanwhile, we're going to proceed with the plea hearing. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Riley, what's the plea recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, it is plea to count 1 hit and run, 12 months to serve 6 days, credit for time served 6 days, the balance on probation, a $400 fine, and a risk reduction course. Counts 2 and 3, reckless driving, hit and run will merge into count 1. Count 4 will failure to report a striking a fixed object will also merge with count 1. Count 5 is null pros. Mr. Hyde has shown a valid Ohio driver's license.
All right. Mr. Hyde, do you currently live in Ohio?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. Okay. You'll have to do telephonic reporting with our probation office here in Fulton County. The fine would have to be paid directly to the probation office, and you need to show proof of a risk reduction, comparable risk reduction program in Ohio. Which city do you live?
Cleveland, Ohio.
So have you sent us your updated address as well?
Yes, I have. Well, actually, no. I believe Miss Helen, the public defender I spoke to, she told me that she was going to get me over to the clerk of courts so I could get my address corrected. They have a S where an F is supposed to be on my street address.
So you have Miss Essen Smith email address? I would recommend you send her an email and when you send in your waiver of counsel form, and make sure you put in your full name, your correct mailing address, your phone number and your correct email, and any other contact information you feel is necessary. We will send you the probation form for you to fill out and sign so that we will go to our probation officer. It will indicate that you would need to do telephonic reporting.
Okay.
Mr. Hyde, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, I have not.
So you've understood everything so far?
Yes.
And do you agree that the factual basis for one count of hit and run, the identity of the perpetrator, that is you, and that the venue, that is Fulton County, Georgia, are all true and correct?
Yes.
Are you entering a plea willingly, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
Are you being forced or induced to take this plea today?
No, ma'am, I am not.
In entering such a plea, you would have to waive your right to a trial before a judge or a jury, the opportunity to come to court and confront your accuser, examine witnesses, be able to challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the original charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How do you plead to one count of hit and run?
No law.
All right, was this going to be a no law plea, Ms. Riley? Do you accept that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hyde, have you pled no law to such a charge in the last 5 years?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Okay, so I'll accept your nolo contendere plea. Your sentence for the hit and run charge is 12 months to serve, 6 days, credit for time served 6 days. There's no additional jail time. You'll be placed on probation. I will allow for telephonic reporting. That's why it's very important that you send back the probation form completed to Ms. Smith as soon as possible. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that they will know you are allowed to do telephonic reporting. While you're on probation, you will pay a $400 fine. You will complete a comparable risk reduction program in Cleveland, Ohio, and send that certificate to your probation officer. Once you've paid the fine and completed the course, your probation will terminate. Counts 2 through 4 are merged, and count 5 will be null crossed. Any questions, Mr. Hyde?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that completes the case. Please remain on the Zoom once we have confirmed that we have received your waiver of counsel as well as the completed probation form. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Oh, do not leave until I get those 2 documents, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Riley, Ms. Githia, and Mr. Rockoff and Ms. Helen, we're going to go over the calendar. On the Orca final plea calendar at 9 a.m., position number 1 is reset to May 4th motions calendar pending a jury trial. A case management order has been signed and issued. Position number 2, Darvion Hyde was a plea. Position number 3, Deshaun Williams has waived arraignment per counsel, Mr. Roffoff, and we'll expect the written waiver by today. The case is reset for a final plea calendar on May 4th at 9 a.m. On the Orca show cause calendar for 9 a.m., we have quite a few possible bench warrants. If a bench warrant is issued, the bond is going to be $500 surety on each count. Emily Taylor Adams. Emily Adams did not report present.
The state would be asking for a bench warrant. I do show that her notice was returned on March 24th, 2023, but this is a 2020 case. So we would be asking for a bench warrant.
Bench warrant issued. The bond is going to be $2,500 total surety. Jessica Castleberry.
I am showing that her notice was also returned in 2019. The state would be asking for a bench warrant.
Has she finished any of that diversion class that the state had offered back in 2019?
And not that I'm aware of, Your Honor, she did not complete diversion. And this is a 2017 case.
Bench warrant issued, $500 surety. Position 3, Christian Dupree Del Vecchio.
And Your Honor, I'm showing several failure to appear. Bench warrants were issued, then withdrawn. So the state would be asking for a bench warrant. This is
$1,500. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No problem. It's a 2016 case, Your Honor.
Bench warrant to issue, $1,500 surety. Position number 4 is also Christian Del Vecchio. Are you seeking a bench warrant in that case as well?
Yes, Your Honor, same request.
$1,000 surety bond. Position 5, Amand Harris.
Your Honor, I am not showing that he has had any failure to appears, and his notice was not returned, so the state would ask for a bench warrant.
Granted, that's going to be a $2,000 surety. Wendell Harrington.
I am showing several failure to appears for Mr. Harrington. State would ask for a bench warrant.
Granted, $1,500 surety. Position 7, Hurston, arraignment was waived by Mr. Rosenblum. The case is further notice for a jury trial. Case management order is issued. Position 8, Mr. Jackson, Antonia Jackson was a plea. Position 9, Alana Johnson.
Your Honor, the state will be submitting a null pros in this case. We've received information that she is deceased.
Okay, please submit that to Ms. Smith. Position 10, Deonta Johnson.
They would be asking for a bench warrant, Your Honor. There are previous failure to appears.
Bench warrant granted, $500 surety. Position 11, Caitlin Lambert has signed up for the diversion program. Case is reset to June 1st status calendar at 1:30 for compliance, represented by Mr. Ruffo. Position 12, Brandon Mack.
The state would be asking for a bench warrant. He did fail to appear in February of 2021.
$1,000 surety bond on the bench warrant. Position 13, Mr. Majors did appear through counsel, Mr. Gardner. The case is been arraigned and scheduled for a jury trial pending the final plea calendar that's going to be had on June 1st at 9 a.m. Subject to Mr. Gardner's availability. Position 14, Alejandro Martinez.
The state would be asking for a bench warrant. This is a 2017 case.
$1,500 surety bond for a bench warrant granted. Shakira Northfleet.
Your Honor, she has had prior failure to appear. The state would be asking for a bench warrant.
Bench warrant granted, $500 surety bond. Position 16, Jarman Norwood was a plea. Position 17, Jared Leon Peace. Have you heard from Mr. Adam Brown? He
Your
looks like
Honor,
he's got a leave of absence. I think we meant to reset this case.
yes, he does have a leave of absence filed.
Okay. This is going to be reset to the final plea calendar or show cause calendar on May 4th at 9 a.m. Catherine Pham, position 18.
Ms. Pham previously failed to appear. The state would be asking for a bench warrant.
Bench warrant to issue, $500 surety bond. Kelsey Royalston, the bench warrant was granted, excuse me, wasn't granted. Mr. Royalston.
It was, Your Honor.
It was, okay, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Mr. Crail's client.
Yes.
It was a bench warrant was granted as a $2,000 surety bond. Position 20, Casteracia Smith.
State would be requesting a bench warrant, Your Honor.
Is granted, $1,500 surety. Johnny Mwanza Wakoteka.
State would be requesting a bench warrant. He has failed to appear previously.
$500 surety bond, bench warrant granted. Position 22 is Mercedes Ware.
Ms. Ware has also failed to appear previously. A bench warrant.
This is from August 3rd, 2015. Does the state have any other recourse?
No, Your Honor, she did serve a day in jail. However, she was placed on a status calendar in September of 2021 and failed to appear for that calendar as well.
I'm going to put a $250 surety bond for Mercedes Ware.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Any other questions? I think otherwise that concludes our calendar with Mr. Attorneys are free to go. I'm just waiting on Mr. Hyde's paperwork.
Hey, Judge, I just have one question from the Orca final plea calendar. What was position 3 Williams' final announcement?
Sean Williams, Mr. Rockoff is representing him. Mr. Rockoff will submit a waiver of arraignment and is reset to the final plea calendar on May 4th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Judge. And I just wanted to make sure I got this correct. We do have 2 calendars for 1:30, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Helen. All
Have a
right.
good day.
Ms. Smith, did you get the probation document back from Mr. Hyde?
Not yet, I'm just not.
Well, you said them over there. Yeah, put them over there.
He's a cool piece and crush. Right?
Okay. Well, he got a copy.
Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Hyde?
Hold on one second.
Yes, sir. We have a completed probation form. Is Bolton Road your correct address?
No. You said Bolton?
Oh, sorry, Felton Road.
Yes, Felton Road, Felton.
Okay. And it's darvionhyde@gmail.com?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have two numbers ending, one ending in 3445?
No, my new number is 216-482-7147.
And can you give me an emergency contact number, contact name,
Yeah.
and phone number?
Yes, Brandy, that's BRANDIE. And then you can put Bolin, that's BOHLEN. Phone number is 440
Hmm?
381
Mm-hmm.
9596, and that's my mom.
All right, we're gonna send you this form. It's got the 3445 number and the 440 ending in 6548 are not working numbers.
No, ma'am. No, they're not.
All right, we're gonna send you this form and it's at the top of the form, it's gonna have the probation office. And when you get it, make sure that you send back an email saying confirm receipt, okay?
Okay.
All right. If you have no other questions, then your next time you're going to contact the probation office via telephone is next Thursday.
Okay.
And that's going to be the next Thursday before 3 p.m.
Okay. No, that worked.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you as well.
All right, folks, that concludes our calendar. Thank you.